I truly, truly mean it when I say that some relationships really suck. And today we are going to be going over some Am I the A-hole stories that involve several different type of relationships, including marriages, brother and sisters, parents, and to see whether y'all think that these people are being the a-hole for asking the person in their life to do certain things. And some of these cases are not cases, these stories are a little bit crazy. So definitely chime in. If you guys are watching live, drop it in the chat, your thoughts. If you're watching on the replay, drop it in the comments. If you are on the replay, we have timestamps down below. So don't forget to click around on those just to jump around to the section of the video that you would like to see. So I am Boss Attorney Bree. I am going to be giving my legal opinion and also my personal opinion on whether I think that these people are the a-hole. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Let's go ahead and jump into the first story for tonight. We have 5 stories tonight. One of them actually got kicked off the board, apparently got removed from Reddit. So we're not going to cover that one. But we are going to cover the other 5 stories that we have for today. So again, let me know your thoughts on everything. And let's have Bossy B bring us into the first story. All right, y'all. So the first story is going to be, am I the a-hole for being a stay-at-home dad? Now, I have changed the title a little bit. The real title of this story is, am I the a-hole for telling my wife I want part of her property if she wants me to quit her job? So we are talking about a stay-at-home dad here. Sounds like he's working right now, but wife wants him to quit his job. Question is, why does he have to quit his job? Why can't she quit her job? I don't know, but let's go ahead and see what this guy has to say. So, am I the a-hole for telling my wife I want part of her property if she wants me to quit my job? My wife, 33 female, and I, 34 male, have been married for 5 years. She owns a successful real estate business that she started before we met, and I work as a project manager. We don't have kids yet, but she recently told me she wants to start a family soon, and that when we do, she thinks it would be best if I quit my job to manage the household and the future children. She told me while handing me this, saying it would help me, assuming I would accept instantly. I don't know what she handed him. Let me see if I can click on it. She handed him she handed him a book called The Ultimate Stay at Home. It's basically a manual for a man to stay at home and take care of kids. So I guess she handed him this book. I didn't know this before I got on the live stream, y'all. She handed him a book on how to be a stay-at-home dad while also telling him that she's ready to have kids and she wants him to quit his job because she owns a real estate business and it'll be easier for him to be the one to take care of the children. That is insane. Y'all make sure y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I think that's kind of an a-hole move on wife's behalf already. Handing him a book is dirty work. So let's keep going. I was surprised because we've always been a dual income household and I enjoy my job. She argued that since her business brings in significantly more money, it makes sense for me to stay home while she focuses on expanding it. She also said she'd feel more comfortable knowing that when we have kids, I'm the one raising them instead of relying on daycare or a nanny. But if she makes so much money, why can they not get a daycare or a nanny? I don't get it. I told her I'd consider it, but if I give up my career, I want to be legally entitled to a share of her business. If our marriage lasts forever, it wouldn't matter, but if we ever divorce, I'd be giving up my career advancement while her business keeps growing. She was shocked and said I should trust her and that this felt transactional. I mean, you also gave him a book while telling him he needs to be a stay-at-home dad, but hey, to each their own, right? I tried to explain that this isn't about not trusting her. I love her, but if I leave the workforce, I'd lose. I tried to explain that this isn't about not trusting her. I love her, but if I leave the workforce, I'd lose earning potential while her wealth increases. I'm fine with making sacrifices for our family, but I want some security in return. When I mentioned this to a couple of friends, they said I was being greedy and acted like I was planning for the marriage to fail. One even said I should be grateful she's offering to support me at all. I'm starting to wonder, am I being too cold or calculated about this? Am I the a-hole? Now, y'all know this is my thing. I am a divorce attorney. So, depending on what state he's in, he's probably going to be entitled to the business and to some extent, whether that be spousal support or whether that be part ownership. I'm in California. So in California, he will earn a percentage of the business for so long as they've been married. So it would have already started. I think they said they've been married for like 10 years. It would have already started, 5 years. It would have already started 5 years ago if they are in California or if they're in a different community property state. It's just going to really depend on where they are to determine what his interest in the business is going to be. So far, if he's in California, he has 5 years worth of community property interest in that business, which means she gets half and he gets half. And then depending on how much longer they are married, he would acquire a percentage interest in that business as the time goes on as well. Now, if he's in a different state, I don't know. Maybe he needs to go and talk to a lawyer and figure out whether he is being, not figure out whether he is being an a-hole. I don't think he's being an a-hole. Figure out what his interest in the business would be. More likely than not, no matter what state he's in, he's going to get something out of the business. Like I said, whether that be spousal support or an interest in the business that she has to pay him out. But I do think it's interesting that she's asking him to quit his job. She doesn't want the kids to go to daycare. She feels like she's the breadwinner. So why are you not willing to give him something in return? I don't know. Let me go ahead and see what the comments have to say. And then we're going to jump into the comments. So make sure y'all are letting me know whether you think that this guy is the a-hole for basically not wanting to be a stay-at-home dad without this kind of safety blanket that wife is going to give him a certain amount of money or whatever it may be in order for him to be comfortable being a stay-at-home dad. So first comment says, not the a-hole, not at all. For thinking ahead, I wish some stay-at-home mom/dad had the foresight to think this way, me included. No one wants to think their marriage will fail, but you never know. Exactly. I'm right there with y'all. Y'all know I'm a divorce attorney, so I'm like, yeah, you should be getting something in return. The law usually protects you, but if you're not quite sure, you're not willing to go talk to a divorce attorney, I would try to get some type of post-nuptial agreement for her to agree before you quit your job. And mind you, these people are not even pregnant yet, so they should definitely be balancing their options, in my opinion. Someone comments to that comment saying, as a stay-at-home mom who just got divorced, hold your ground. The financial abuse that happens to stay-at-home parents is horrible. Tell your wife to message me and I will let her know exactly how hard the struggle is. And if she loves you like she says she does, then she needs to think logically, not lovingly. And I'm just kind of wondering, if she doesn't think that they're going to get a divorce, what's the big deal in agreeing to this? She's saying that it sounds like he's planning for a divorce. Sounds like to me she's planning for a divorce and not necessarily needing to take care of him at the end of things. One other person comments to this same comment and says, I'd argue she isn't thinking lovingly either in the situation. She should want to make sure that he's going to be taken care of and feel secure in their move forward as him being a stay-at-home dad. He isn't proposing anything ridiculous. No, he just basically wants a safety net if things do not work out. He is in a career. He's a project manager. He probably has opportunity for upward growth, and he is going to decide to put that on hold in order to raise their children while she's still making a bunch of money in real estate. Like I said, depending on what state she is, if he's in California, he'll be well protected as far as at least getting some type of interest in the business, getting some spousal support, and getting any assets that they acquire. So if she's saving up millions and millions of dollars, he's going to get a piece of that millions of dollars if it's in the saving account, not just in the business. So he definitely should go and talk to a divorce attorney in his state to figure out what he would be entitled to without having to sign a post-nuptial agreement. I think it was kind of shady that she handed him a book saying, hey, this is the manual to be a stay-at-home dad, but didn't think, hey, what is going to be my manual and what is going to be my responsibility financially in taking care of him if we decide to do this. And I'm like, did y'all not talk about this before y'all got married? Who was going to be the stay-at-home parent, whatever it may be? I don't know. My suggestion, would be to go and talk to an attorney in his area. Let's go ahead and see what the comment section thinks about whether this guy, being the stay-at-home dad, is an a-hole and wanted some security and moving forward. So Mary Jane is saying hi, hello, and welcome in. It's a Howard, also hi and welcome in. We got Mary Jane dropping a B. Hello and welcome in. We got Mary Jane saying not the a-hole. I agree with you. I'm sorry. I agree. It doesn't seem like he's the a-hole. It does seem like he's being really, really reasonable to me. Nissa Howard saying not the a-hole. Definitely agree with you. Mary Jane says clear cut, not the a-hole. Nothing else. Agreed. I mean, do we still need to talk about it? I think we don't need to talk about it anymore. Hello to Julia 543. Welcome in. And then Mary is just saying hi to Julia. Welcome in. But yes, y'all, I think that this dad is completely right in asking for some type of safety net. I do think that there are probably laws in place wherever he is that will protect him, and he just needs to go and talk to an attorney. If they can't agree, it doesn't sound like she's pregnant. It doesn't sound like they've had kids already. It might be time to kind of call it quits. I know nobody expects to get divorced. They've only been married for 5 years. They don't have kids yet. If she's not willing to put something in place for you to be protected, or if there's not some laws in your state for you to be protected, I think that might be a good opportunity to just go ahead and call it quits and move on. So let's go ahead and jump into the next story that we have. I also have some people on TikTok. No one really made any comments. So we are going to go ahead and jump over to the next story that we have. And that story is, am I the a-hole for refusing to share my college dorm room with my older sister and her baby? I went ahead and shortened it for the banner again, saying, am I the a-hole for rejecting my sister and her baby? Off tops, I don't know, because I didn't read this story too. This is going to be a live reaction for us to see whether this person, it looks like there's a female and she's rejecting her sister. So not brother, there's a sister versus sister here. So am I the a-hole for refusing to share my college dorm room with my older sister and her baby? Oh, y'all got to let me know what y'all think. I, 19 female, am in my first year of college and live in a small dorm room on campus. My sister, 26 female, so like 7 years older than her, had a baby a few months ago and she's been struggling financially. She and the baby's father broke up and she had to move back in with our parents. The problem is she hates living there because our parents are too controlling and judgmental about her being a single mom. She asked if I could request permission for her to stay in my dorm with her baby for a while because it would be quieter and give her space to figure things out. Oh, really? Ma'am, you're 26. You are going to have to find some different options. I don't know any college that would allow this. I don't know anywhere that would allow this. Let's go on. I told her no. My dorm is tiny, barely big enough for me, and I have a roommate, plus a baby crying all night in a shared dorm. That's not fair to my roommate or me. She got upset and said I was being selfish, that family should help each other, and that she'd do it for me if the roles were reversed. Family is helping you. You are living with your parents. You just don't like it. Family is helping you. It's not like you are on the streets, okay? You just don't like your parents nagging you. You can't put that on your 19-year-old sister. That's wrong. Now my parents are also pressuring me. Not the parents flipped on you. Now my parents are also pressuring me to just let her stay for a little while because she's struggling. She's living with you. How is she struggling? Just let her keep living with the parents. My roommate thinks the whole situation is crazy and that I shouldn't feel bad. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm being a bad sister. Am I the a-hole? She then edits it and says, I spoke to the dorm in charge and was told it wouldn't be allowed at all. I don't expect any college to allow this. Okay. I informed my parents and my sister about it, but my sister is still upset and says I should have been more open to the idea. She has no control on whether this can happen or not, and you're still blaming her. She should have been more open to the idea and that I shouldn't have denied her for my selfish reasons before asking for permission. What does it matter? The answer is still no. I feel like the sister feels like the sister in the dorm was like, my sister wants to leave with me. Please tell me no so that I can tell her no. Like, no college. I don't know of any college that will allow a non-student to live on campus with a baby. I don't even know if they allow students to live on the campus with a baby. And she has a roommate. It's not like this sister is living in like a solo apartment or anything of that nature. This is what happens. I just kind of scrolled these ones and I didn't really read through them. So I guess it's better because it's really live reaction. But this girl is out of control. Let's go ahead and see what the comments on Reddit says, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments. So if you have opinions on this, please let me know. Please let me know. So first comment on this one, y'all, this one is not that old. This one is only 2 days old on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. And so first comment says, not the a-hole. As you stated, a crying baby is not fair or quiet for anyone. How loud can your parents' house be that she needs to get away? It's not about volume. It's that she doesn't want to listen to your mom and dad and tell her she doesn't want to listen to mom and dad tell her they are disappointed in her choices. The other crazy part is that the parents are also asking for her to leave. Like, do they hate her because she gave a single mom? And it's not like she's a teen mom. She's 26. So why are you guys shaming her anyway? I get the whole idea of wanting your kids to be married before they have kids and, you know, with the person so that they don't have to move back in with you. But literally, she's 26. She's not a teen mom. Y'all can help her out for a little bit, but to try to put it on your 19-year-old child for her to help her big sister when the parents are able and willing to do it. Yes, it might be a little bit annoying that they're making these crazy comments to her, but like, she's not homeless. Like, what are they talking about? This comment continues to say, my guess is your campus will have a firm no as an answer to this. So I actually do encourage you to reach out to them and ask what the policy is on non-students living on campus in a dorm room that is already at capacity. If, as I suspect, it's a clear not allowed, print that out and hand it to both her and your parents. Editing to add, your sister would 100% use this as an excuse to use you as free labor to take care of her child. This is a time when you should be focusing on schoolwork and living the college life, not taking care of someone else, baby. I definitely agree with that. Someone else comments and says, agree completely that OP should absolutely ask the RA and or housing department about this. Unauthorized visitors will get OP kicked out. So having it in writing should help shift the blame from OP to the university. Joke's on y'all because she still blamed her. The sister was still blaming her. Like, you should have been more open to it. Like, no, that's not allowed. I know that's not allowed. Why would you even ask me to do something of that nature? So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Is this person the a-hole? I think you can already read that I don't think she's the a-hole in this one. We're kind of going through these ones fast. These ones are kind of short compared to other ones. But y'all let me know whether y'all think that she is the a-hole. So let's go ahead and see here. Where's the last comment I got? Julia543 says, wait, college dorm room, or did I mishear that? No, you heard that right. It's the college dorm room they are talking about. The college dorm room is where the sister, who is 26, that just had a baby, couple months old baby, trying to live with her little sister that's 19 in a college dorm room. Yeah, you heard that right. Nissa Howard says, you can't have people in your dorm room permanently. No, that's what I would think. I would think that would be at any college, not just whatever school the child is at. And I'm wondering if big sister ever went to college, because if she did, she should know that, unless she was sneaking people to live with her. I don't know. Mr. Howard says, not the a-hole. I agree. Mary Jane says, Julia, yeah, Karen Reed is a nutty. Oh, you guys are talking about the Karen Reed case. I have not been keeping up with that, so I have no comments on it. Mary Jane says she's in college studying and hearing a baby cry, ? Yeah. No, I don't even know if they would allow that if she was the one with the baby. Julia543 says, even if she didn't have a roommate, no, none of the other students need to hear a baby crying. Yes, like the walls are going to be thin. The walls, the people are going to hear it. Like, no. Where did she even get this idea? Because she doesn't want to hear her parents nagging. You're the one that had a baby apparently out of wedlock. You don't want to hear your parents nagging, but you think that all of these college students deserve to hear your baby crying in the dorm? Yeah, I think not. I think not. Mary Jane says not the a-hole. Julia 543 says not the a-hole. Julia 543 says, oh no, this is great. Yeah. Mary Jane says, in art school, my roomie had her boyfriend over. I had to listen to them. I love how you spelled it out. Do adult activities is what we call it over here. Gross. Yeah. And that's just adults being adults. But also imagine a baby crying. Like, it's out of control. And then there would be 3 adults in a room. And I don't know if you guys have seen dorm rooms, but they're not big. They're not a lot of room. And if I'm imagining the type of dorm room it is, it's not like one of the apartment kind of dorm rooms. It's like where you're literally sharing a 16 by 16 room. Like the rooms are never really that big, right? Just me MD says, no, the way dorm rooms are set up, I asked and they said no. Exactly. I probably would have said that before even asking. Like, girl, what are you talking about? I asked. They said no. No, I checked for you, man. I'm so sorry. No, the sister's out of control. I don't even know if I would lie to her. She is out of control for even suggesting that. Julia 543 says, the parents and sister are super duper on each other's nerves, I bet. Maybe parents can watch the baby for a weekend and the sister can visit college sister overnight without the baby. But also, like, college, the baby sister, the sister with the baby is 26. Why does she want to be on a college campus? Like, I understand there might be like master students there, but 9 times out of 10, they're probably not staying in the dorms. You're looking at the freshmen and the sophomores that are like 18 and 19, the age of the sister. Why would she even want to be there? Why is she not trying to set up her life to get an apartment? No, I don't even want her to visit me, because the fact that she came up with that crazy idea, I'm not even interested in sister visiting me at this point. She's out of her mind. She just seems a little bit off her rocker. Julia 543 says, and then maybe the parents can go visit some relatives the following weekend, maybe. But it does sound like they need some type of separation. I see where you're going with that, Julia. Also saying, I had a few friends visit, but just for a night, sleep on the futon, not for a long period of time. She's trying to move in with an infant. This baby is only a couple months old, y'all. Mary Jane says, people got to respect the roommate and the college rules. Like, that was a wild offer to me. I don't know why I'm so shocked about the offer, but that was a wild offer to me. Julia 543 says, older sister wants a break for a day from being a mom. I think, no, she has to move in. It's one thing to say, hey, can you watch the baby for today? I need a break from parents. I need a break from the baby. Can you watch the baby? No, my girl asked to move into the college dorm at 26. Yeah, with baby sister who's 19. Absolutely not. I think not. Julia says, yeah, move in is a no way. You can have a break of a day. That's it. Yeah, I'm there. I'm like, yeah, I can do a break, but you cannot move in. Absolutely not. Yeah, someone on TikTok, no one's saying anything. So that's all we have on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on to the next story. I think we got our answer here. Not the a-hole for 19-year-old sister telling 26-year-old sister that she cannot move into her dorm with a roommate with a baby. I'm going to say not the a-hole. Sounds like the chat is also saying not the a-hole. Let's go ahead and jump on to the third story. Like I said, we're going through this one pretty fast. This one is a little bit longer, and it's all in one big block of text. So hopefully I can get through it properly. So let's go ahead and jump into the next story, which is, am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my brother-in-law's wedding? And the longer title is, would I be the a-hole for refusing to go to my brother-in-law's destination wedding after his fiance wore white to my wedding? I think I can kind of guess where you guys are going to lean. So we have brother-in-law's fiance wearing white to OP's wedding, and it seems like she is refusing to go to their destination wedding at a later date. And I'm gonna show y'all the dress. The dress is posted, so I'm going to show y'all the dress, and this one is posted on the Charlotte Dubray YouTube one. So I think she also does YouTube and Am I the A-hole? But anyways, let's go on. Would I be the a-hole for refusing to go to my brother-in-law's destination wedding after his fiance wore white to my wedding? A little background, my 32 female husband, 38 male, will call him Dan, has one brother, 33 male, will call him Jordan, who he has never gotten along with. Dan isn't much of a sharer, so I don't know all the details. All I know is that according to Dan and Jordan's aunt, Jordan was horrible to Dan growing up. The little brother was bullying the big brother? Okay. I don't know. I know it's possible, but I'm like, come on, dude, stand up for yourself at some point. Jordan is also notoriously disliked and known to just not be a good person by just about everyone I've met that also knows him. Their own grandmother warned me about him before we met. Now, Jordan is not just unpleasant. He is a fully hatched bigot. Oh gosh, it's going to get worse. Now, I'm not usually very confrontational. I have the people pleasing disease, but after a few drinks, I'm a tad bit more flampant with my opinion. Over Christmas, Jordan made a comment about people of other races not being real people. What? And I lost it. But the meanest thing I said was, thank goodness you live somewhere your opinion doesn't really matter. They live in a very, very blue state. He responded that I didn't matter. Oh, gosh. So you thought you were eating him up and he ate you back up. Talking about you don't matter is wild. So she said, good that you live in a state where your opinion doesn't matter. He said, well, you don't matter. That's insane. Let me see where it is. Where was I at? So I just got up and walked away to help his fiance, 25 female, we'll call her Katie, wash the dishes. I apologized to her in my mind for having to deal with Jordan, but in her mind, it was for yelling at him. And she responded with something along the lines is no, sorry. No, I'm sorry. I wish I believed in something that much. I thought that was a little odd, but we were all pretty intoxicated, so I just didn't pay much mind to that comment. I also agreed to be nice to Jordan for the rest of the evening, mostly to keep my mother-in-law, who I love, happy. So apparently her and brother-in-law already got a little bit of beef going on, okay? The rest of the evening, Jordan sulked in the corner, and while Katie, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, Dan and I opened gifts, chatted, and had a generally good time considering what had happened. Some background on Katie, I feel is important to the story, is that she's one of those women that looks like a real housewife, not in a bad way. She just all looks all glammed up and is always wearing designer clothes and bags and expensive jewelry. She actually looks a lot like a younger Brandy Glanville from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I like nice things as well, but I'm much more the type to live in sweatpants unless I need to go somewhere that requires real pants. She's also very loud and loves to be the center of attention. Meanwhile, I'm dreading my own wedding day simply because of all the people looking at me. Katie and I really couldn't be more different, and I didn't necessarily see her as see that as a bad thing at first, but there was something about her that rubbed me the wrong way, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. I was a little wary of anyone willing to date someone like Jordan, and I just had this weird feeling that Katie didn't actually like me or was trying to one-up me in some way. That feeling probably came from the fact that Jordan and Katie got engaged 2 months after Dan and I and set their wedding in August of this year, 6 months after ours. I've seen enough Charlotte videos to know that maybe I was just being insecure or projecting or something, so I just kept those feelings to myself and tried my best to befriend my future sister-in-law. But it just seemed so odd to me because Jordan and Dan's parents had absolutely no idea Jordan was even considering proposing. Things started to get weird though when I invited her to my bachelorette party via my maid of honor who was planning it, and her response was thanks, but I already celebrated her in Nashville. Nashville was a trip where this person cannot spell. Sorry, y'all. Nashville was a trip where I guess we were both invited on with my mother-in-law to visit mother-in-law's sister and our future female cousin since they live there. It was a semi-celebration for me, but more of a girls and the family trip, and I had absolutely nothing to do with it, but that's fine. We don't live in the same state, and even though my bachelorette was a local one, was a local one-day thing on a weekend, I understand it's a trip for her and not everyone can take off work or afford to make the trip. I was still a little hurt, but again, was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Keeping in mind though, all of this was before was before the Christmas chaos began. But again, after the blow up, Katie and I seemed to be getting along fine, surprisingly well, in fact. And I actually started to think maybe we could be friends. Flash forward to Dan's and I's wedding. The way the venue was laid out, I was able to see all the guests arriving and taking their seats from my getting ready suite. So I'm standing at the window watching people arrive, getting pumped to marry the man of my dreams, and in walks Jordan and Katie in a white dress. I immediately just start laughing and simultaneously in disbelief and also not surprised. The night goes on, and the vast majority of people in attendance, at least on my or our friend side, were absolutely appalled. The wedding planner was livid, and the bartenders even asked me unprovoked if I would like them to spill a drink or two on her. Honestly, at the time, I felt so vindicated and relieved that my instinct about her was correct. I told them not to worry about it. I mean, at what point I felt like if you wear white to someone else's wedding, everyone there knows exactly the kind of person you are. The funniest part, I found this out later, that my maid of honor confronted her and said, "Why would you wear white to a wedding?" And she goes, "It's not white, it's cream." I would never wear white to a wedding. So she attaches a picture of a similar dress of the same color for reference that I'm going to show to YouTube. Now that a couple of days have gone by and I've had some time to stew, I realize how incredibly disrespectful that was. I mean, she's either as stupid as she looked in the dress and didn't realize the dress wasn't appropriate, or she did it intentionally. So anyway, now on to would I be the a-hole part of this post. Jordan and Katie are getting married in August. It's a 4-day destination wedding in the Bahamas and would cost a minimum of $1,800 between the hotel and flight for Dan and I to attend. I know this would really upset mother-in-law, but Dan and I really do not want to go. If it were in their hometown, we would just suck it up for mother-in-law. But the idea of taking time off work and spending almost $2,000 to celebrate people who don't even hesitate to hurt us on our own wedding is not necessarily on my bingo card for 2025. I don't want to ruin my relationship with mother-in-law or father-in-law because they really are wonderful people, but I also refuse to spend the rest of my life being disrespected by Jordan and Katie. So I feel like we need to set the boundary now before it gets worse. So please tell me, would I be the a-hole for not going to brother-in-law's wedding for the fiance wearing the white dress? Now, I'm going to show YouTube the dress. And I'm sorry, y'all. It was literally just in a block of text. So that was very hard for me to get through. So I'm sorry that I was skipping all around, stuttering and all the things. So let's go ahead and share the dress. This is the dress that we are talking about here. So it is ivory, a little champagne-ish, I guess, but it's pretty close to white. She said it was cream, so I'm assuming it is leaning more white versus champagne. So y'all definitely let me know whether y'all think that OP is the a-hole for not wanting to go and celebrate. And my thing is like, okay, even if she didn't wear the white dress, would she be the a-hole for not wanting to go and spend $2,000 on people that disrespect? I mean, I guess the dress does matter because it is disrespectful. And the crazy part about this picture is that the person also has on what looks to me to be an engagement ring. So they're likely trying to sell this as like a bridal shower dress or a rehearsal dinner dress. That's what I would assume based on the way that they have this picture styled with the engagement ring in the picture. So y'all let me know, would OP be the a-hole for not going to the destination wedding? I do think that there's some disrespect here, but y'all let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and check out Reddit comments, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments to see whether y'all think that OP is the a-hole if she does not go. And like I said, this post is only 2 days old, so we got time. She got time and opportunity to figure out what would be her best option and whether she's gonna go to this destination wedding in August. So first comment says, not the a-hole, don't go. Take a vacation with your husband and pretend to be sick. Might want to look into getting her dress recolored with Photoshop if she's in any of the wedding photos. Mustard yellow works on grainy brown. They're like, Photoshop her picture, her dress to a different color. Someone else comments, or OP comments, it says, the photographer literally just emailed me and offered to do that. That was an awesome idea. I can't believe I didn't think about it. Oh, she's gonna be pissed. You send it to her and base it on that reaction. So if she's pissed that you changed the color of her dress in the wedding photos, then you should really determine whether you're going. So if she's pissed, I'll be like, nope, not going at all. Okay. Someone else comments and says, have the photographer do a few pics with her dress in the most hideous shade you can think of. The rest can be nice so you can feel good having them in the album. Make sure you post the awful ones on social media. Let me see. I'm trying to find something else. Another comment. Someone else comments, this is camouflage will look great on her. A mixture of, I guess, throw up green and poop brown. And don't forget to have the makeup done in the 80s rocker meets 90 grudge. You could mix in some hot pink mile high shoes. So basically they're asking to basically change sisters-in-law's whole outfit. Just change it, have the editor change the colors. My thing is, like, you're asking her editor to do a lot more work than they were really contracted to do. So I wouldn't do that. I would just have them change the dress, probably, like they said, a mustard yellow or something that this sister-in-law really wouldn't like, and then go from there. So let's go ahead and see what the BriHive has to say about whether OP would be the a-hole if she decides not to go to the brother-in-law and sister-in-law's wedding. Julia543 says, okay, OP's spouse's brother. Yes, that is her brother-in-law would be the person she married, his brother, not going to his wedding, right? Mary Jane says, another white wedding. And my thing is, like, I'm assuming this took place in America, right? Who does not know not to wear white to a wedding? I know there's some different cultures where the bride doesn't even wear white to the wedding, but even when they come to America, they do what they call a white wedding. So they still wear white to at least one of their weddings, whether that be the engagement party or the actual wedding. They do a white wedding. So in America, if you're having a wedding in America hosted by Americans, unless they say it's okay to wear white, who, as a woman, wears white to a wedding? Because we know men all wear the white shirt. No one cares about them. No one's looking at the man in his white shirt and his black pants. No one cares about that, okay? But if you're a woman, why are you wearing a white dress to an American wedding? It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. Julia543 says she should go and wear white. I wouldn't even waste my money on it. I think that's where OP is leaning. Like, I'm not going to waste my money on these people. Like, let's go do something else. Let's not be worried about them. And she's worried about upsetting mother-in-law and father-in-law. I'll be like, F it. Like, who really cares at this point? Julia543 says, oh, yikes. This is going to be a whole thing. Yes. It was a long one. It was definitely a long one. Mary Jane says, what? Julia543 says, and it's worse than I thought. It was worse than I thought originally. Mary Jane says, wait, whose wedding is it? So it was OP's wedding that the sister-in-law wore white to her wedding. And so now OP is asking if she should go to sister-in-law's wedding, because she basically tried to get engaged right after her sister-in-law, right after OP got engaged. Julia543 says, I think as of Christmas, OP's wedding hadn't happened yet. Yes. So we're talking about this year. So Christmas 2024 it sounds like, is when that argument happened where OP's brother-in-law was saying that certain races are not actual people. OP blows up on him Christmas 2024. And then we fast forward to, I guess, probably this past weekend, sometime in March, OP gets married and OP's sister-in-law wears the white dress to her wedding. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law's wedding has not happened yet because it's going to be in August 2025. So as of Christmas, OP's wedding didn't happen, but as we read this, OP's wedding has happened. Brother-in-law's wedding has not happened because it's going to be in August of this year. Julia says, yep, so OP's wedding to Dan was in February. Or was it February? I thought it was like March. Probably February because she said 6 months apart. Mary Jane says she doesn't have to go to her brother-in-law's wedding, not the a-hole. Plus, what the F people think. I don't know what people are doing. I don't know what people are doing. They just do whatever they want. And they think that people are not going to retaliate against them. I think that's probably the nicest thing that OP can do is just not go to the wedding versus trying to embarrass her at her wedding like she did to her, right? Julia says, oh no, I was confusing. I was somehow figured it out. Mary Jane says, yeah, I got confused by the in-law talk. Yeah. So Dan is OP's husband. Jordan is the brother-in-law. Julia says, yeah, true, fine. OP shouldn't wear white. I just think she shouldn't go. Julia says, oh no, Katie wants to be the center of attention anyways. Julia says the cream was intentional. I agree. And then to say, I would never wear white to someone's wedding. Like, ma'am, you're close enough. I don't even like wearing things that are patterned with white in it. Okay. Just wear something completely different. Mary Jane says mother-in-law and father-in-law aren't wonderful. She thinks that they're wonderful. Julia says, it depends on how much Dan does or doesn't want to go. Sounds like Dan doesn't even like Jordan, so it probably won't be a big deal if he doesn't go. Mary Jane says, laughing my A off. It's white. Yeah, the dress was white. I'm like trying to say, oh, it's champagne. It's like a little champagne color. Like it's white. It's white. Yeah, you're right. Julia says, I would call this very much either a black tie ball or a possible wedding dress. Yes, it was very close, very formal. Yeah. Jane Stoddard says, nope, not at all. Really, their wedding isn't about you or your husband, so it shouldn't matter if you go or not. And it doesn't sound like the brother and the brother-in-law, the actual people that are related, it doesn't even sound like they're close. So would it really make a difference? Is anyone even going to Jordan's wedding if everyone really hates him like that? Mary Jane says, destination weddings are never a reasonable ask, and it's more reasonable for you not to go to that than one that's in your regular town most of the time. Wheeler Wells, hello and welcome in. Just Me MD says sister-in-law would take her own photos at OP's wedding, I'm guessing, just to be spiteful. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past her at this point. Mary Jane says bro needs to explain the people comment. I don't think he has anything to explain. He doesn't think some people are full people. They didn't say which race of people, but I guess I can probably make an assumption of who he was referring to. And like OP says, good thing that his opinion doesn't matter because they're going to vote that way anyway. But for him to retaliate and say, well, you don't matter is crazy work. Julia says, I lean towards go to the destination wedding because mother-in-law and father-in-law will be upset and it'll be a thing forever, unfortunately. Yeah, that does suck. But also, like, if they're not paying for it, who cares? I am also a millennial, though, so it's like, yeah, if you're going to be mad, be mad. Not my problem. Julia says, but go to the wedding, make the rest of it a vacation for OP and Dan, ditch the other festivities, don't go to the bachelorette or anything, and then don't celebrate holidays in the future with Jordan and Katie. That does sound like that's probably reasonable. I probably just wouldn't go. Because I think it's reasonable. And maybe they know that they can afford it. And so maybe mother-in-law and father-in-law would press about it a little bit more than normal. If you're just asking like a distant friend or a distant cousin, it's your brother. But it's like, also, I hate my brother. So why are you really pushing me to do this? I don't know. I would say don't go. And that's it. She didn't go to her bachelorette party after she was invited. So I would just say don't go. Don't go and don't explain it to anyone. They can all suck it. If they are upset about you not being there, that's their problem. They can suck it. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the next story. We got 2 more stories to go. This one is, am I the a-hole for banning my husband from his sister's wedding? So we have another sister situation going on here and another wedding going on here. Let me actually fix that little thingy there. Okay, so title of the story, and this is in Am I the a-hole? And it's only 5 days old. Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband attend his sister's wedding? Why? This is also going to be a live reaction, y'all, because I haven't read this one at all. So I have no idea what they're going to say. My husband, 31 male, and myself, 28 female, are expecting our first child this May 2025. We found out very early September 2024. We did not keep this a secret from anyone, and in fact, shared the news in person with his family and my family on the day we found out. During this period, his sister, 29 female, was getting to know someone and getting engaged in October 2024. It's sort of an arranged marriage, as she was set up and decided to get engaged only after 3 months of speaking to the guy. What? 3 months? Her parents, my in-laws, were happy that she liked him and wanted to quickly move forward. Did they want to quickly move forward because they think that she could have married someone else? That's what I would like to know. Is sister-in-law like unmarriageable in general? I would like to know. She's been wanting to get married for the past 5 years. After the engagement party in October, there was a brief discussion of when the wedding would be. His sister had mentioned that she wanted to be married by no later than April 2025. After our initial OB visit in September, my husband had mentioned to his parents that I would not be able to travel after 34 weeks as per the doctor. His mother decided to ignore this information and not address it. His sister and mother decided to plan on having the wedding in April 2025, even though they had not booked anything. His sister's fiance lives in Texas, a 3.5-hour flight away. I briefly mentioned that I would not be able to attend in April as it would be too close to my due date, but wished them all the best in their planning. February 2025 rolls around and they decided to have the wedding this upcoming April 19th of 2025 in Texas. They are planning this wedding quick, okay? They're trying to get rid of my girl. I tell my husband that because I will be almost 37 weeks pregnant and we would definitely not, I tell my husband that because I will be almost 37 weeks pregnant, that we will definitely not be able to go. A month prior, during a huge fight we had, his mom had told him it's okay if I don't go, but that he would have to attend. At the time, I was not opposed to it as I thought it would be fine. 2 weeks ago, we met with my OB and I decided to ask her for advice while he was also in the room. I asked for her confirmation that it's not a problem if he were to travel during my 37th week. She looked at both of us and says, absolutely not. We both stare at her shocked, and she continues to say, this would be like rolling a dice. I would not recommend it. If something were to happen, I would not be able to slow anything down. He unenthusiastically agrees and says it's messed up that they picked the date knowing we most likely would not be able to attend. It's now almost April. I mean, obviously it was posted 5 days ago and we're in March here. It's now almost April and he just told his mother that we will both for sure not be able to attend. My husband and the in-laws have had a huge fight and he explains the situation. So his dad threatens that he wouldn't attend either if he's not at the wedding. I don't budge after he tells me this and calmly state that he simply cannot attend 2 weeks before my due date as we're both having this baby together. So am I the a-hole for not letting him attend his sister's wedding? Are we not letting him, or is he just being stupid? Like, is he being stupid? Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm going to go ahead and check out the comments. I'm saying not the a-hole. Like, your sister getting married. She's been trying to get married for the last 5 years. Do we really think this is going to last? Probably not. Hey, I shouldn't be passing that kind of judgment, but at the same time, like, you're having a child. The question that you need to ask your husband is he willing to miss the birth of his baby because his sister, who apparently couldn't even find a man in 5 years, talked to a man for 3 months, is deciding to marry him at the last minute after them knowing when your baby was due and you expressing concern about when your baby was due? If she doesn't care about planning her wedding in April, is she pregnant too? Like, does she not want us to know that she's having a baby too? What's going on here? If she does not care about you not missing the birth of your child, you should not care about going to her wedding. I do not think that OP is the a-hole. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think. Let's go ahead and check out some of the Reddit comments. First one says, not the a-hole. Your in-laws really looked at a whole pregnancy timeline and said, nah, let's gamble. Like, did they think the baby would just reschedule to be more convenient for them? Your husband is about to become a dad. His priority should be you, not across the country at a wedding when you could literally go into labor at any second. His family acting like this is some wild betrayal is crazy. He's missing one day. You'd be missing your partner while possibly giving birth. Huge difference. And I'm like, who are they expecting to be in the room with her while he is at this wedding? And the thing is, you can't reschedule a baby. You cannot reschedule a baby, but you can definitely reschedule a wedding that, mind you, until February, so until last month, the date was not even set. She just wants to be married before April. Why? That's her personal choice. I don't know. But you cannot reschedule a baby. The baby is already in the stomach baking, okay? We cannot predict when the baby is going to come. Like, yes, we guess it's going to be at 40 weeks, but it's her first pregnancy. It can come early, it can come late. We don't know. Are you going to take that gamble? They decided to take the gamble, and now here they are. Someone responded and said, I get that they want to get married and April suited. That's fine. You don't need to wait for a baby or plan around other people's dates. But you also can't blame those people for prioritizing their situation and staying home being close to delivering. You don't get both. The world doesn't revolve around anyone else's date. Exactly. If they want their wedding to be on that date and brother cannot go, that's your problem. You knew when the baby was due. You want April. The baby also wants April or early May. What can we do? What husband is going to do is just not go to your wedding. Not go to your wedding, okay? Someone else comments and says, and if they wanted April so bad, they could have chosen the start of April or the very end of March. OP still wouldn't be able to travel, but hubby might have been given clearance to go. The later into April they got, the less chance of either OP or hubby being able to travel. I think that's just unreasonable. Why are you even asking a man, a husband, to leave their pregnant wife while they're in their third trimester at all? Leave people alone. Have your wedding and leave brother alone. Sounds like mother-in-law and sister-in-law do not like OP. That's what it sounds like to me. Let's go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments. I'm just trying to see where we left off. Okay. Julia543 says some cultures do have arranged marriage. It does sound like this is a culture with an arranged marriage, but also they are arranging the marriage, so they should know not to set it around the time that babies are due. But yeah, I would assume that is arranged marriage, and she still couldn't find, so she's been waiting for somebody for 5 years. I'm not judging her, but I'm judging her because she's being a dick, in my opinion. Just Me MD says his own grandmother does not like him. I think it's his mother. It sounds like I think it's his mother that's doing this to him. Mary Jane says wife and child are priority. Absolutely, definitely agree. Mary Jane says not the a-hole. Definitely agree. Julia says it's unfortunate that sister planned it then. Yeah, what's this not letting him nonsense though? OP's husband should want to be there for his wife and baby. That's his new immediate family. Exactly. Not letting him. Does husband want to leave you alone in the hospital giving birth to his child? If so, you better send him divorce papers afterwards because he's not even choosing you. He's choosing some funky wedding that nobody cares. Like, she didn't even know she was having the wedding when you found out about the baby. Like, this is so new. No, I would not give up seeing and so not even seeing the birth of my child, but supporting my partner that has gone through 9 months of being pregnant with my big-headed child, and is going to push my child out. What if something happens to OP? What if OP doesn't survive giving birth to the baby? Then how is he going to feel, right? Or is the sister's wedding that important? Julia says it's likely planned for April 19th because that's the day before Easter, so it's likely cheaper and available last minute. That is possible. Mary Jane says, Julia, yeah, it's messed up either way it goes. Yeah, it's messed up either way. Julia says, yeah, if sister and fiance want an April wedding, that's great for them to have their wedding then. Just don't give OP and brother a hard time. Like, this is your wedding. Why are you so focused on other people being there? The only people that really need to be at your wedding is the bride and the groom. So why are you giving the brother a hard time about being at the wedding? Is he going to be the man of honor? Is he going to be the one giving her away? Like, no, sounds like there's a father in this situation. Sounds like there's going to be some type of minister in the situation. What is the importance other than this is your brother and you love him and you want him to be there? He's having a baby. Literally the only people that need to be at the wedding is the bride, the groom, and one witness in most states. One witness. And it sounds like your mother and your father and the groom's family, everyone's going to be there. Jane Stoddard says, nope, but to each their own. When I was preggers with my first, my hubby had a work trip planned for a month before my due date. He talked to our OB and was given clearance. Baby came 3 weeks early. Did he miss the birth of the child, or did he come back on time? Julia says, oh my gosh, Jane, was he there? And I guess you're going to answer probably sometime. Maybe not. Jasmine MD says, oh, that was the Jordan's grandmother. Oh, for the not the a-hole. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the grandmother didn't even like Jordan. Mary Jane says, if for real divorce papers, women still risk their life giving birth. Exactly. Like, even if you don't care about seeing the birth of your child, even if you think it's the devil's spawn, the child is the spawn, I don't know. You're not going to support your partner. Your partner could die. Your baby could die too. But your partner could die. And you're going to be what? Turning up at a wedding? For your sister, for a man that she just met. She hasn't even known the man that she's marrying for the length of time that your wife is going to be pregnant at the time. Your wife would have been pregnant longer than your sister has known this man. And even if not, your wife and your child comes first. Sorry. I think some people don't understand the meaning of marriage. Laura Christine says he better pick the wife. He better. Talk about for not letting him go. He shouldn't want to go. Julia says, yes, focus on yourself and your fiance. Great to have your parents there and other family and friends. Your brother just won't be there. You knew what you were doing. You planned the wedding. How's that anyone else's fault? Julia says, it's a bummer that they won't have OP and brother in the wedding photos, but that's the way it is. And that's the way sister planned it. Sister and mother-in-law planned it like that. That is literally their fault. Literally their fault. I was surprised that OP said that the husband can go initially. I would have been like, no, F that wedding. You want me to be here scared alone? How, like, if she went into labor while he was at the wedding, who was going to take her to the hospital? Like, what do you got going on? Jane says to Julia, he drove 20 hours straight, missed it by 4 hours. He was sure to be home for the second. Exactly. And I'm sure he probably still regrets it to this day, right? And that's something he really couldn't control because it was work. Phoenix Waller says to Julia, perhaps the bride/hubby's fam didn't want OP there in pics and picked the timing to exclude her. That is probably what it is. It sounds like the other side of the family does not like OP. They still like their son. They just don't like OP that much. They don't care for her that much. Or maybe they don't want her to be pregnant in the pictures and outshine the bride. Or maybe they don't want to have the wedding after the baby is born because then people are going to be gushing over the baby if their family is there. So that definitely makes sense too. Julia says, oh my goodness, I'm glad he was there for the second. Frankly, driving 20 hours straight, I'm glad nothing happened. I'm glad he was able to make it too. Julia 543 says, oh, that's a very good point. Not wanting her in the pictures. That's what it sounds like. And then they can't wait until after baby is born because then baby is going to have attention. So basically sister-in-law is going to get all the attention. But also nobody told her to get married that fast. So I don't really know what sister-in-law is trying to do here. Mary Jane says, wedding ego is crazy, ridiculous. Now you become the most important person. Like, girl, you've already waited 5 years. You could have waited a couple of months and let the baby be like 6 months and had your wedding then. then at least you would have known your husband for a year instead of trying to rush it, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the last story of the night. Here we got, am I the a-hole for telling my fiance to stop contacting his ex-wife? That is the shortened version of the title, which is, am I the a-hole for telling my fiance to cut contact with his ex-wife, or we're done? Okay. Don't talk to the ex. What is the ex doing? This is going to be another live reaction because I haven't read this one. So, am I the a-hole for telling my fiance to cut contact with his ex-wife, or we're done? I, 27 female, have been with my partner, 28 male, for 5 years. For context, he was divorced when we got together, and early on, I noticed red flags regarding his communication with his ex-wife. I won't go into much detail, but some examples include withholding information about their conversations, planning coffee meetups without telling me, and calling me crazy for being concerned. Sounds like he should have stayed married to his ex-wife. That's what that sounds like. Despite these issues, the first couple of years were smooth and we started planning a future together. In 2022, he proposed and I was thrilled. So I thought, and y'all, this was posted 1 day ago. So this has been a couple of years that they've been together. A few months later, just a week before my competition, he suddenly told me, something is telling me I have to go back to my ex-wife. What is telling you that, sir? You or your ex-wife? It was like my worst fears were manifesting right in front of me, and I had no idea how to process it. I left and stayed at a friend's house for that night. Girl, what? When I returned home the next morning, he told me I didn't mean it. I was processing a spiritual experience I had and spoke without thinking it through. And that's the fiance speaking. But the damage was done. I told him we were over, left for my competition, and made plans to move out when I got back. He is trying to mess up her mojo. She has some type of competition. I don't know what kind of competition, but she has some type of competition. And you want to tell her... Yes. I just got a quick question. What you trying to do? I'm almost done. I'm gonna go to Costco and grab a drink. Okay. I'm all in the middle of the story. That's what he want to ask me. Okay, let me get back into it. Sorry about that, y'all. When I returned home the next morning, let's start with there. When I returned home the next morning, he told me I didn't mean it. I was processing a spiritual experience I had and spoke without thinking it through. But the damage was done. I told him we were over, left for my competition, and made plans to move out when I got back. I was a wreck at my competition, utterly heartbroken. Yeah, messing up her mojo. When I returned, I moved out, got my own place, and was single for a couple of months. But we couldn't seem to stay away from each other and eventually found our way back together. That's what he was doing with his ex-wife. He is crazy. He's the problem. Okay? Because he broke up with his ex-wife and still was going and finding his way back to her in the coffee shop. And now you broke up trying to get your single mojo Jojo on, and he kept finding his way back to you. Were you also going to coffee dates with him? Like, don't let this guy, he's manipulative. He's manipulative. Okay? Anyways, they found their way back together. Don't you see this as a pattern? It's a pattern. This time, he knew things had to be different. We had long conversations, set clear boundaries, and carefully planned how we were going to rebuild trust. The biggest boundary I set was that he needed to cut contact with his ex-wife so I could feel secure in the relationship. I made it clear that if he broke that boundary, there would be no coming back from it. He agreed without hesitation, and over the next couple of years, we actually grew closer. In 2024, we got engaged again and started planning our wedding. I really thought we had made it. Fast forward to a week before the next competition. Why is it always the competition? He dropped 2 bombs on me. 1, I don't know if I want kids anymore. Oh my gosh. And that's something you guys had agreed on, which we had already agreed on before getting engaged. And 2, I'm leaving for a month to work on a project. Okay. I was upset and confused, and I asked if we could table the conversation until after my competition. Like, why is he always doing these dramatic things before your competition? He's a hater. That's what I'm going to go with. He's a hater. Once the competition was over, he left for his trip. While he was gone, we kept in touch through texts and phone calls. One night during the call, he seemed off. I asked him 3 times what was wrong, and each time he insisted nothing. The next day, he called me and confessed, I talked to my ex-wife a couple of times while I was here. Throw the whole man away. Throw him away. You had a boundary. He crossed it. Why are we talking about this anymore, OP? All I said was, then we're done. That was my boundary. And I hung up. Absolutely defeated. Thank you. That's all. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. He seems to keep finding his way back to exes. I guarantee you, if you break up, he's going to go get back with his ex-wife if she will have him. And then he's going to keep finding his way back to him. And I am wondering, while y'all was on this break, was he with his ex-wife? That's what I would like to know. He seems to not be able to make decisions. That's what it seems like to me. Oh, this thing is trying to cut me off. Yay, I did the puzzle piece. TikTok keeps trying to kick me off when I'm not saying nothing on TikTok Live. Okay, where were we at? So that was she broke up with him. When he came home 2 weeks later, we finally had a conversation. One of his main arguments was that it wasn't fair to ask him to not speak with her in the first place, and that it was my fault for making that boundary in the first place. He's blaming you. Dude, it doesn't even sound like they have kids together. So what is the purpose of talking to her? Like, literally, what would be your reasoning for talking to her? Like, let's for real be honest. So am I the a-hole for asking my fiance to cut contact with the ex-wife? No. And I think she should leave him. And I don't think she should have this conversation anymore. This was posted what? 1 day ago? Yes. You just leave him alone. Leave him alone. He does not seem to know what he wants. And if he wants to be able to talk to his ex-wife so bad, he needs to go and be with her, or he needs to let you go. That is your boundary. You don't like it. You don't want it. There's literally nothing keeping them together. What is his purpose for talking to her? And what is this spiritual journey that he keeps going on? And why does he keep going on spiritual journeys and dropping bombs on you before these competitions, which sound to be important to you? He's a hater. That's what it sounds like to me. There is an update saying, or an edit saying, just wanted to clarify a few things people are asking in the comments. No, they do not have kids together. That's what I'm saying. They don't sound like they got kids together. They don't have kids together. The competitions I was referring to are my bodybuilding competitions. I compete at the professional level, and we used to share this hobby together. It's how we met, but he is no longer involved with bodybuilding. 3, when I compete, there is a portion of that time where I'm emotionally, physically, and mentally tapped out. In the past, it has affected our relationship, and it's something I've worked very hard to get better at every time. And 4, yes, I do want kids more than anything. He also came back later and changed his mind and said that he didn't want kids. Don't do it. Leave him alone. He is manipulating you. He is probably upset because he's not into bodybuilding anymore, and he's probably jealous of you. And he's trying to, oh, well, I'm not getting attention, so I'm going to say something to throw her off. And hopefully she loses her competition and then she just quits. That's what it feels like to me. Absolutely do not have kids with him. Absolutely do not get back with him. He is jealous of you. He's a hater. He's jealous of you, and he needs to go be back with his ex-wife. He should never. Why did he leave his ex-wife and then feel like he still needs to talk to her? And they don't even have kids together. Like, what's going on here? Let's be for real, okay? Let's see what the comments on Reddit has to say, and then we'll jump into the BriHive comments. The boundary, someone says, the boundary is for you. You set the boundary that you would end it if he couldn't respect your feelings enough to stop communicating with her. He did, so it's time to enforce your boundary and leave. All of this is contingent on him. All of this is contingent on them not having kids together, and they don't have kids together. There's really no reason for them to be talking. Someone else says, it is so suspicious to me that these revelations keep happening before your competitions. Yes. OP, is he jealous about you competing in something that he can't beat you in? Yes, that would be my assumption. And is he using his ex as a wedge is he using his ex as a wedge to get you to drop your sport/hobby to devote more time to him so you aren't better than him at something? Just throwing that out there. If this is the case, then you need to permanently get rid of him no matter what he says about the ex. He will keep expecting you to shrink yourself so he feels like a big man. Yes. He seems like an insecure, jealous man, little softy butt. Okay? He sucks. Get rid of him. Even if this is not the case, he clearly cares more about his friendship with her than he does about your relationship. If you aren't his priority, then he needs to go. Yes. No, You don't need to be in a relationship with him. Whatever he feels like he needs to talk to her about, and especially I'm assuming that he's saying that she's emotionally, mentally, physically not available. He's finding that availability in his ex-wife. And the crazy part is, since he used to also do bodybuilding, maybe this is a situation where he left his ex-wife to be with OP. That's what this sounds like to me. And he was probably not being emotionally available for his ex-wife. And then now it's happening to him. Leave him. He's done for. There's really no reason why she needs to still be with this guy. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the BriHive comments on this to see what y'all got to say. I forgot to mark where I left off at. So hopefully I can find where we are. Where are we? Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find the comment that starts this off. Okay, for the cutting off the husband thing, Julia starts off by saying, my immediate answer is going to be, do you have kids together or not? And I think this is the first comment. I think this is the first comment. I hope it's the first comment. Anyways, I'll just keep going and hopefully we'll get to the right place. Julia543 says, girl, you've put up with this for 5 years. Oh gosh, that's all during quarantine timeline. I think this is referring to this one, but I'm not sure. Julia says, or the time warp time. And Julia says, a spiritual experience. I would like to know what the spiritual experience is. And I'm thinking it's referring to her probably not giving him enough attention when she is in this bodybuilding zone. Mary Jane says, what the F? Yeah, he's weird. Phoenix Wallace says, what's telling him to go back in his little head? Yes, it's him. He's telling him to go back because he is insecure and a hater. Okay? A hater. Julia saying hi to Alpha. Yeah, he did interrupt me. No interrupting me. He's gone now, so that's good. Don't tell him I said that. Laura Christine says, ma'am, he showed you who he was exactly. She should have never got back with him because it sounds like he did the same thing to her that he did to the ex-wife. Like, they kept going on coffee dates. And then when you guys broke up, we kept finding our way back to each other. He seems like someone that never really let someone leave him alone. Like he sounds a little stalkerish in my opinion. Okay. Laura says, ma'am, he showed you who he was. Julia said, yes, exactly, Bri. He keeps finding his way back to his exes. No, drop him. Exactly. Always. And I guarantee you, when you break up with him, he's going to keep finding his way back to you until you block him. So block him, lady. Just me MD says, spicy Bri. Yeah, he kind of pissed me off. Okay. Mary Jane says, oh, man. Julia says, let me guess. Now he broke that boundary. No coming back from it. Exactly. Now. And then he said it's her fault for setting the boundary because he needs to talk to her. What do you need to talk to her about? And that makes it, you may come out and say, well, Bri, you're jealous. You don't want your man to talk to their ex. No. For what? For what? What do you need to talk to them for? It's Kit Mo says he loves to sabotage her. It does seem like he's sabotaging her, right? Laura Christine says he's got to go. Run, girl, run. I definitely agree with that. It's a kid. Am I reading that right? Okay. Laura Christine says, I think I already read that one. Okay. Is Kit Mo says OP really needs to leave him. I agree. Mary Jane clapping, happy that she stood on business, okay? Because she dumped him immediately, but don't let him talk you back into it, sis. You let him talk you back into it one time. Don't let him do it again. Jane Stoder says, gaslighting you around the ex. He still has feelings for the ex, or he wouldn't lie about spending time with her and talking to her. Like, and you're not going to tell me that you went 2 years from 2022 to 2024 without talking to her. And then all of a sudden, when you're on this work trip, you just happen to find your way back to talking to her. I think he had talked to her a lot more than when he went on the work trip. Jane Stoddard says, gaslighting you around the ex. I think I already read that one. Julia says, no, OP, why did you talk to him and meet up with him? His time to push back on that boundary was years ago. And he definitely, I wouldn't even, I think because he came home and maybe they're both still like in the process of moving out. But yeah, I wouldn't give him any more time. Mary Jane said, dump him, drop in the truck and the poop. Laura Christine says, don't have kids with him. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances. He hates you. He hates you. Do not have kids with him. Julia543 says, is he jealous that she's still competing? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. That's what I would say. Mary Jane says, no bringing kids into that mess. I agree. He's a mess. In the whole situation, I would leave him alone. Don't let him come back. He is going to ruin your life. Don't let him come back. It's his cat Mo says, he's trying to sabotage her entire life. He's giving whiplash. Yeah, just let him go. Whip him out of there, right? Julia says, having kids would tie her to him forever. Do not hook up with him. Stay away from him. And he is already finding his way back to his exes all the time, okay? If you have kids with him, he's going to always be finding his way out of your house, eating your snacks and drinking your kids' juice, okay? Leave him alone. Julia says, not the a-hole. Julia says, yep, it isn't necessarily that he wants the ex. He wants to be in control and the best. I agree with that. He is trying to be in control. He's trying to make her feel insecure. She's succeeded in the bodybuilding. He's clearly not doing the bodybuilding anymore. Is it because he sucked? Maybe. He's clearly jealous about something. Just Me MD says, like, how many years of her life has she given to him? OP is clearly an option for him. And in his opinion, he's literally dead weight, pun intended. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Why are you contacting your ex-wife? You left her for a reason, okay? Julia says she probably feels like she's invested 5 years, and I think she said 27 or 28. So she probably hates how much time she spent on him. Don't get pulled into a bad forever having a kid with him. Block him. Yeah, and it would be forever because people always say, oh, until the kid's 18. No, it's the rest of their life. It's going to be at your wedding. He's going to be interfering with the birth of your grandchildren. Leave him where he is. I like that she stands on business and she dumps him when and it sounds like she's disciplined because she does bodybuilding. I know that's hard. So stick to it this time. Get rid of him. Dump him. Don't go back. Do not go back, OP. Julia says, there are going to be good guys out there for OP. Move on and do not hook up with him and be stuck with him forever. Their wedding, grandkids, forever, get away. Yep, exactly. Exactly. You are thinking just like me. It would be forever. Let him go. Let him go and live his life and waste his ex-wife's time, okay? She already left him. You already left him once. Leave him for good. Leave him for good. Mary Jane says, you're the a-hole to herself if she doesn't dump him. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And Julia agrees with that. If she goes back to him, she is going to be the a-hole. Julia says exactly to me. Yeah, we were on the same wavelength. We were right there. You will be stuck to him forever. He's an a-hole. This is his thing. Don't let this be your thing. Okay. He can't seem to let go of the women that he can't seem to hold on to when they're in his life. So yeah, you're not the a-hole, but like Mary Jane said, if she doesn't dump him, then she will be the a-hole. Y'all, that is all I had for the live stream today. Thank y'all so much for joining me on this Reddit Am I the A-hole live stream. I believe that I'll be streaming tomorrow. I don't know what the content is going to be yet, so I will look into what's interesting and what's going on right now and kind of check in with y'all and see what it is that y'all want to cover. Again, thank y'all for joining me live. I should be streaming tomorrow. I will let y'all know if something comes up and I'm not streaming tomorrow, and I will see y'all all on the next. Also, thank you for everyone that participated and commented and gave your opinions in the live stream. Now I will see y'all all in the next live stream. Bye.